India's rural employment guarantee was never meant to be a favour, not a discretionary welfare scheme that could be expanded or withdrawn at the convenience of the government in power. It was meant to be a right. For nearly 2 decades, MGNREGA gave many rural households something rare in Indian welfare policy: a legal claim against the state. Demand work and the government must respond. Fail to provide it and compensation follows. Now the union government wants to replace this law. As you might have already heard, the union government has proposed a new law called the Viksit Bharat Guarantee for Rozgar and Ajivika Mission Gramin Bill of 2025, or simply put, VBG-RAM-G. This is to repeal and replace the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. We'll get to the name in just a bit, but there are other deeper problems with it. On the surface, the bill appears to expand the program by raising the guaranteed employment days from 100 to 125 a year. But critics argue that this headline hides a deeper shift, one that weakens the guarantee itself, centralizes control, and quietly shifts financial risk from the union government to the states. At the core, weaken the federal structure. Let me explain. Reporting cannot be limited to headlines and sound bites. When journalism stops asking who benefits, who pays, and who is left out, it stops serving the people. Here at the News Minute, we've consistently reported on federalism because the quiet shifts of power between the union and the states shape our everyday lives, from wages to welfare to rights and accountability. This special episode of Let Me Explain is part of that work. You can support our show by scanning the QR code on your screen, or you can even click the link in the description and you can choose any amount of your choice and support our work. Now, before I go into the structural changes to MGNREGA, let's quickly look at the name change. Opposition leaders like Shashi Tharoor and Derek O'Brien have called it an insult to Mahatma Gandhi, pointing out that the original name carried a historical and moral weight. Activists like Aruna Roy and Nikhil Dey say that the new title is ideologically signalling, turning the program into a government initiative rather than a legally enforceable right. The use of Hindi words like Rozgar and Ajivika is seen as a deliberate push for a cultural nationalist branding instead of a rights-based language. Critics also note that the name includes Ram, which is seen as another symbolic nod to the Hindu nationalist imagery. In fact, an editorial in The Hindu says that the only plausible reason for the name change is the fact that the BJP's ideological master, the RSS, had strong differences with Mahatma Gandhi. Now, this shift does not come out of nowhere. In 2014, Narendra Modi had dismissed MGNREGA as a scheme to line the Congress party's pockets. A year later, as the Prime Minister, he said he would not scrap it but preserve it as a living monument to its past failures. He even mocked the idea that decades after independence, people are still digging holes, saying he would show these holes to the world. What these remarks ignored was how MGNREGA was actually shaped, through consultations with state governments, economists, activists, and parliament, and backed by broad political consensus. That consensus is now being dismantled, not by scrapping the law, but by replacing it. The most important change introduced by the new bill lies in how the employment guarantee itself is defined. Under MGNREGA, employment is driven by demand. Any adult who asks for work must be given a job within 15 days, or the state has to pay unemployment allowance. That is what made the law enforceable and allowed workers to hold the state accountable. VBG-RAM-G changes that basic relationship. While the bill talks about 125 days of work, access to jobs now depends on central notifications, approved schemes, and funding decisions made by the union government. In effect, work is no longer triggered simply by demand, but by how much the union allocates and where it chooses to run the program. Economist Jean Drèze puts it bluntly. The new law promises a work guarantee without any real guarantee that the promise will actually be honoured. The biggest shift is really about who pays for rural employment. Under MGNREGA, the union government covered almost the entire cost, paying all unskilled wages, most material expenses, and a large share of the administrative costs. The idea was clear. A national employment guarantee cannot depend on how much money individual states have. VB Jairamji flips that logic on its head. For most states, funding shifts to a 60-40 split, with states now paying 40% of the cost. This change comes as states are already dealing with delayed fund releases from the union government. As of December 3, 2025, pending dues had crossed 9,400 crores, including unpaid wages and material costs. States like Andhra, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Telangana have been especially affected, with workers facing long wage delays and longer workdays. In this context, forcing states to contribute 40% encourages them to limit employment, not expand it. And this is where the bill strikes at the very core of federalism. The union government keeps control over key decisions like allocations, rules, coverage, while states increasingly shoulder the financial and legal liabilities. States still have to pay unemployment allowances and compensate for delayed wages, even when delays are caused by the union government by not releasing funds. Critics warn that when the union government uses measures like the multi-dimensional poverty index to determine allocation, it could punish states that are already performing well and investing heavily in health, education and welfare, like Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. At the same time, poorer states may receive higher notional allocations but still struggle to meet the mandatory 40% contribution. In both cases, the result will be fewer days of work. For many states, this is simply not feasible. These concerns are not abstract. For over 3 years now, the union government withheld MGNREGA funds from West Bengal, citing alleged irregularities, even when courts ordered release of funds. Rural workers lost wages and employment, while the union government faced little immediate accountability. Now, this new bill also allows states to suspend work for up to 60 days during the peak agriculture season, citing the need to ensure farm labour availability. But available data does not support claims of widespread labour shortages caused by MGNREGA. Wage trends do not show sustained spikes, and factors like mechanization and crop changes play a larger role. CPIM MP John Brittas has criticized this provision, arguing that halting public works to push labour into private farms amounts to state-managed labour supply and not welfare. The new bill also builds in technology-based controls that have already ended up excluding genuine workers. Biometric attendance, geotagging, mandatory eKYC and Aadhaar-based payments are written into this law. And all this despite reports of connectivity failures and authentication errors. By April 2025, around 27% of the workers were ineligible for Aadhaar-based payments, and more than 1.2 crore job cards had been deleted since 2019. Under the new framework, workers risk losing wages due to technical failures entirely beyond their control. Now, supporters point to the increase from 100 days to 125 days of work as proof of expansion. But many have called this misleading. I'll tell you why. Because they argue that even under MGNREGA, average employment had fallen to around 50 to 55 days per household because of budget cuts and payment delays. Raising the ceiling without fixing the funding, wages and delay changes very little on the ground. As activist Aruna Roy has argued, real reform would have been strengthening of wages, timeliness and grievance redressal, not just shifting the cost onto the states. At its core, the VB Jairamji bill reshapes responsibility in India's welfare system. The union government keeps control over money and rules. States inherit financial risk, and workers face greater uncertainty in accessing what was once guaranteed to be a right. Bhuvan.